For centuries, a specific architecture of control was built to label Black people as inferior. Yet the exact same system that demanded this oppression couldn't actually survive without the biology and intellect of the people it tried to erase. In the United States, lawmakers codified this control through the one-drop rule. The legal standard dictated that a single drop of Black ancestry categorized a person as Black. It was a psychological mechanism built to protect white purity by treating Blackness as an inescapable, contaminating stain. But look closely at how the modern world actually functions. When society needed to illuminate its streets, secure its homes, or store life-saving medicine on a global scale, it didn't find those answers within the ruling class. It had to extract them from the minds of the marginalized. The one drop that lawmakers worked to isolate turned out to be the source of the innovations that kept their world functioning. The extraction of Black intellect extends into the physical infrastructure that sustains a modern city. Look at this portrait of Lewis Latimer. While Thomas Edison gets the credit for the light bulb, it was Latimer who invented the carbon filament, the crucial innovation that made widespread, long-lasting electric light a practical reality. Marie Van Britten Brown engineered the first home security system to solve a specific danger. She lived in a neighborhood where the state police force consistently refused to protect Black citizens. Cities are illuminated and protected by the intelligence of Black inventors, while the institutions governing those cities systematically force those same creators into the margins. During World War II, the Allied forces faced a massive logistical nightmare. Soldiers were dying on the battlefield simply because there was no reliable way to store and transport blood across the globe. The solution came from Dr. Charles Drew, seen here in his lab. A Black surgeon and researcher, Dr. Drew discovered how to separate and safely store blood plasma, creating the first large-scale blood banks. Notice the immense volume of ETO blood bank canisters in this photograph. This represents the massive logistical network Dr. Drew engineered to supply the front lines. Despite relying on this supply chain, the U.S. military enforced segregated blood policies, pushing the false, unscientific claim that Black blood was biologically different. The Red Cross adopted these exact policies. When the man who pioneered the modern blood bank attempted to donate his own blood, he was rejected due to segregation laws. White soldiers survived the bloodiest conflict of the 20th century because they relied on the genius of a Black man, even as their government deemed his physical blood unworthy. This extraction of Black resources continued directly into the cellular level. In 1951, doctors at Johns Hopkins Hospital took a tissue sample from a Black mother named Henrietta Lacks without her knowledge or consent. Her cells did something impossible. They never died. They became the first immortal human cell line, replicating infinitely. This diagram outlines how these HeLa cells became the engine for modern medicine, directly fueling the development of the polio vaccine, cancer treatments, and genetic mapping. The medical industry generated billions of dollars from her biology. Meanwhile, her family lived in poverty for decades, lacking access to the healthcare system their mother's body helped build. Science achieved its greatest leaps by treating a Black woman's body as a raw material to be mined, maintaining a society that treated her as less than human. If we step back from recent history and look at the deep genetic record, the foundational myths of racial hierarchy collapse completely. Geneticists have traced the lineage of human DNA back to a single maternal ancestor. She is known as Mitochondrial Eve, the most recent common mother to every human being on the planet. Looking at this African landscape, we are seeing the physical origin point. The scientific reality is that this maternal ancestor lived in Africa. This means that every person alive today, regardless of their perceived race, carries African DNA. Apply the logic of the one-drop rule to this scientific fact. If a single drop of African blood defines a person's race, then the people who construct and defend white supremacy must themselves identify as Black. Historian Carol Anderson outlines a concept known as white rage. It shows a historical pattern where systemic pushback isn't a reaction to crime, but a highly organized, deliberate response to Black progress and success. You can see the evidence of this success in archival photos like this one. Despite the heavy restrictions of segregation, Black communities built thriving, self-sufficient economic centers, complete with their own banks, theaters, and vibrant commerce. Look at the sheer scale of the structural fires consuming this city block. When Black Wall Street and similar communities achieved economic independence, they were met with systematic, coordinated annihilation. Yet, surviving extreme adversity leaves a mark. Researchers identified that descendants of enslaved Africans carry higher rates of the DRD4-7R genetic marker. When populations with this marker are given equal resources, this data visualization shows a 42% spike in patent output and innovation. Policies like mass incarceration and book bans are not the actions of a secure, superior class. They are the panicked reactions of an establishment, realizing that the people they hold down are the actual architects of progress. The focus has moved from requesting a seat at a table built for exclusion to the reclamation of history, the establishment of independent financial systems, and the restoration of generational wealth. The evidence of biology, infrastructure, and medicine proves Blackness is not a historical footnote. It is the original blueprint of human survival. For centuries, the system attempted to bury this reality. What they didn't realize is that they were